do at the convention, to be a president for all Americans. What does he say to those that are deeply disturbed by what happened and fear what he will do?
The Trump campaign, in a statement, says Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris spoke by phone today. She congratulated him on his win. The former president also commended Harris for her strength, tenacity, and professionalism in the campaign. The vice president delivers a speech this afternoon. The White House says President Biden congratulated Trump in a call and also spoke with Harris. Abortion also on the ballot across 10 states this election. Voters in 7 states, including Montana and Missouri, approved guarantees or expanded abortion access. World reaction is mixed. Ukraine's leader and Israel's prime minister were among the first to congratulate Trump on his win. ABC's Ian Pannell is in London.
Trump has repeatedly said that he'd end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours if he's re-elected. President Zelensky appealing to Trump today to maintain support. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov saying he's not aware of Putin plans to congratulate Trump, calling the U.S. an unfriendly country. I think China also is going to have concerns after threats on tariffs and the dangers of a trade war.
British health officials say they've identified 4 cases of the new, more infectious variant of Mpox. It marks the first time a cluster has been detected outside Africa. The version first emerged in Congo. The defense rested its case in the Delphi double murder trial, prosecutors calling rebuttal witnesses. Richard Allen is charged with killing 2 teens found with their throats slit while walking in 2017. You're listening to ABC News.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Justice Department policy states a sitting president cannot face criminal prosecution while in office. Now, special counsel Jack Smith is talking with DOJ officials evaluating ways he can end his prosecutions of President-elect Trump. But there are questions about what happens to his other cases.
Trump is scheduled to be sentenced here in New York later this month for falsifying business records. Even if that goes forward, it's hard to see how he faces any meaningful sentence now.
ABC's Aaron Katursky reporting. Shares in Elon Musk's Tesla have soared following Donald Trump's victory.
An election that will bring Donald Trump back to the White House has been very good for the world's most successful manufacturer of electric vehicles. Many investors are expecting Trump to reduce or even eliminate tax credits for EVs. While that might hurt the overall market, it could help Tesla. Drivers buying one of Elon Musk's vehicles cannot take advantage of those credits anymore, but they still apply to other car makers. Phasing out the credits would essentially make those cars more expensive and could make Teslas look like a better deal. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Drug maker Novo Nordisk says it's aware there are reports of 10 deaths and 100 hospitalizations of people who had taken compounded copies of Wegovy and Ozempic, its weight loss and diabetes drugs. Last month, the company asked the FDA to ban making copycat versions of those drugs, which it said were too complex to produce safely. Until recently, there was a shortage of both drugs in the U.S. Michelle Franz.
This is the Newsradio KONP Noon Report.
Todd Ortloff in the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Wednesday, November 6th. Let's take a look at the local election results as of last night. In the 6th Congressional District race, Democrat Emily Randall leading with 57% of the vote over Republican Drew McEwen. For Legislative District 24 in the state Senate race, Democrat Mike Chapman gets 56% of the vote over Republican Marcia Kelbon, who came in with just under 44% of the vote last night. For State Rep Position 1, Democrat Adam Birnbaum has 56% of the vote against Republican Matthew Roberson. And for State Representative Position 2, incumbent Democrat Steve Theringer leads with 57% of the vote over Republican Terry Roberts. For Clallam County Commissioner, incumbent Randy Johnson leads with 55% over Democrat Kate Dexter with just under 45% of the vote. For PUD Commissioner District 3, Phyllis Bernard leading with 53% of the vote against Ken Simpson's 47%. In some local measures, Port Angela School District's levy has been approved with 59% saying yes, and its bond issue also approved with almost 62% yes vote. Fire District 2's property tax levy lid lift has been approved with a 58% yes vote. In the race for governor, Democrat Bob Ferguson has won with 56% of the vote over Republican Dave Reichert, who got about 44%. In the closely watched Commissioner of Public Lands race, Democrat Dave Upthegrove leads with 53% of the vote against Republican Jamie Herrera Butler, and she's got 47% of the vote through last night's count. And for Superintendent of Public Instruction, incumbent Chris Reichdahl leads with 53% of the vote over challenger David Olson, who's gotten about 46% of the count. There were several Washington state ballot measures on before the voters yesterday. Here's the results so far in Initiative 2066. This is ensuring access to natural gas. It's leading with 51% saying yes. But the other three initiatives are all going down to defeat. Initiative 2117 to prohibit the carbon tax credit trading. No has led with 61% of the vote. The initiative to repeal the capital gains tax with a no vote, 63.2% saying to keep it. And the one that would allow employees to opt out of Washington Care has been defeated with 56% saying no to that initiative. More news after this.
Losing a loved one is overwhelming. Your mind and your heart shut down. That's where Drennan & Ford Funeral Home and Crematory comes in. They took the burden off my family's shoulders and guided us through everything we needed to do. No pushy sales tactics or unanswered questions. They just held our hands and took care of everything we asked. That's why I will always recommend Drennan & Ford for end-of-life decisions. They handle the hurt like no one else can. Call 360-457-1210.
Have you been searching and searching for anyone to install, repair, or replace your windows? What about looking for someone to install a new exterior door? And what about a skylight, or a new glass shower enclosure, or even a glass railing system? It can be hard, if not near impossible, to just get a call back. We at Hartnagel Building Supply sympathize with just how difficult it can be to get fast and dependable glass services. It's why we created our newest division, Hartnagel Glassworks. With over 80 years of combined experience, our team is ready and excited to help you on your next project. Whether it's big or small, residential or commercial, installation or repair, we can pretty much handle anything related to glass. Contact us today at 360-417-8388 or at hbsglassworks.com. Angeles Millwork and Hartnagel Building Supply. Building homes, building community since 1906.
In other news, the Clallam County Sheriff's Office is investigating what Chief Criminal Deputy Amy Bundy says is a death at a private residence where the circumstances are deemed suspicious. Bundy said there was nothing else she could release about it to us at this point because it's still an active investigation. It's happening near Squim at a home in the area of Woodcock Road and Ridgeview Drive. The effort to build a joint public safety facility in Port Angeles that would house both the county's Emergency Operations Center and the 911 Communications Center is facing a setback, and city and county officials working to try to submit a pared-down redesign before some critical grants might run out. AOC, the designer architect on the project, came back with a bid of about $30 million to build the facility that the officials wanted. However, Clallam County's Sheriff Brian King was frank in describing their reaction as sticker shock because the budget the city and the county have to work with is short of that by some $10 million. He says all concerned agreed that raising another $10 million is not going to happen, and there seems to be no will on the part of the City Council or the County Board of Commissioners to take on any debt for the project. So now the parties are in the process of negotiating a redesign of the new joint public safety facility that could be built with a total budget of just over $20 million. Half of that budget is in the form of FEMA and state commerce grants. Those could expire if new design documents aren't submitted soon, though. Sheriff King told KONP they're now focusing on must-have versus nice-to-have facilities and a smaller footprint on the property on Lordson Boulevard near the airport. Among the must-haves, King says they must build a seismically tolerant operations center and a 911 center that will stand up to a Cascadia subduction zone type of an event. As for the city's part, which is the 911 center, Police Chief Brian Smith told us the new layout still has some must-haves.
And the city wants a, resilient, modern 911 center that has adequate space for, up to 50 years of growth in Clallam County. So the floor area where the consoles are, the offices for the supervisors and the core functions around that would be like the have-to-haves. But we're not giving up anything that's going to compromise our effectiveness. I mean, as I've seen the redesign, a vast improvement over what we have right now. Much, much better. I mean, that's the one that's been scaled down. So if we can get that one across the finish line, we'll be in great shape.
And while the Commerce grants don't expire till June, the architect has already said they are past the point where they can get the bid documents prepared in time. So how concerned is Sheriff King that it can be done? He told us in a written statement, quote, "Concerned, yes, but not panicked yet. We can request an extension, which we'll likely need to do. As long as we have a viable project, the extension should be granted, but there are no guarantees. We will also need to request a change to the FEMA grant in terms of allowable expenditures, essentially ask to be able to use those grant dollars for pre-construction related expenses. Costs have consistently escalated since the project's inception, according to the sheriff." Washington State's courts' online systems have been down since Monday after officials said they detected unauthorized activity on the electronic network. It is affecting operations at the Clallam County District Courts this week. As the state court's administrative office works to restore the systems and determine how the network was impacted, Wendy Farrell with the state administrative office of the court said she could not provide details about the outage for security reasons. At the courthouse in Port Angeles, Court Administrator Nikki Botman told KONP yesterday that because all the systems are down, they're not able to access their daily court calendars. They can't take in funds in the normal way, so they've gone back to using their old-fashioned receipt book. They can't look up cases for people, but they do have access to their paper records, so if a person has a case number, they should be able to help them at this point. Altman said that AOC has told them systems will certainly be down for the rest of the week, but they don't know how extended that shutdown will be. She said they are still opening new cases, processing protection orders, and most other functions, but she's asking folks to practice a bit more patience as the state works on the problem. This is Newsradio KONP.
Tri-State Roofing is celebrating the grand pre-opening in Sequim. Tri-State specializes in more than just roofs, siding, gutters, patio covers, and doors. And the best part is, we got you covered with incredible financing. Project now and pay later, much later. Zero down payment, zero payments, and zero interest for up to 18 months on approved credit. Experience the Tri-State way. We've got you covered 24/7. Call 253-ROOFING.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
Hi everyone, it's Leslie Robertson from the Port Angeles Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here to remind you that it's that time of year again. That's right, preparations are underway for the Port Angeles Winter Ice Village. The rink will be open from November 22nd until January 5th every day. As you probably know, the rink runs on volunteer power and we need volunteers. If you've done it before, welcome back. And if not, don't worry. We'll teach you everything you need to know. The shifts are short, you'll have a great time, and you'll get a free skate ticket for every shift worked. If you're interested, please visit the website wintericevillage.com and click on the link to volunteer. Another great way to support the rink is with a takeover, where your business, organization, or service club staffs the rink in all positions. We promise you'll have a great time, we'll promote your participation online, and it's a great way to support this wonderful community event. If you're interested in a takeover or becoming a rink sponsor, please email events@portangeles.org or use the contact link on the website wintericevillage.com. You can find all the info you need on wintericevillage.com.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Mainly cloudy skies expected this afternoon, with daytime highs approaching 51. Westerly winds around 5 miles per hour. Mainly clear and foggy tonight, lows around 42. Chance for isolated showers tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 54. Mainly cloudy skies expected with fog early. 55 Friday with isolated showers likely. 53 Saturday. Chance for showers continues. Taking a look at the extended forecast. 49 Sunday, 48 Monday, and 49 on Tuesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 50.
The votes are in, at least for this week. Good morning, I'm Jay Reynolds. Oregon, no surprise, number 1 in the initial college football playoff ranking released yesterday. Ohio State number 2, followed by Georgia at number 3.
There was a lot of thorough discussion about both teams and their performances on the field. And so you're right. I mean, those things we took into consideration as a part of the discussion. And ultimately, the vote, when it came out, Ohio State was ranked number 2 and Georgia was 3.
Selection Committee Chairman Ward Manuel. Of note, Indiana sitting at number 8, Notre Dame at 10, Alabama ranked 11th in the initial list from the committee. NFL Week 10 gets underway with the Bengals and Ravens tomorrow. Yesterday, the NFL trade deadline, Washington lands cornerback Marshawn Lattimore in a deal with the Saints. Lions acquired defensive end Zadarius Smith from the Browns. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones says Dak Prescott likely to be on IR with his strained hamstring. NBA was idle last night. A dozen games tonight. Cavaliers and Thunder both seeing action, the 2 remaining unbeaten teams. Sixers are in LA to face the Clippers. Philly learning Joel Embiid is suspended 3 games for last weekend's incident with a columnist from the Philadelphia Inquirer. On the ice, the Flyers lose again. They fall to the Hurricanes, who get the game-winning goal with 30 seconds to go. Austin Matthews does not play for Toronto, but they beat Boston 4-0. Flames rally to beat Montreal. Matt Coronado gets the game-tying goal in the third, and then
the puck's dropped, and we've started overtime. Suzuki loses his stick. Coronado shoots the puck and scores! Matt Coronado, the hero here in La Belle Province. He scores the game-tying goal with 2 minutes and 46 seconds left, and he scores the game winner 7 seconds into overtime.
Fastest overtime goal in Flames history. Sportsnet 960 The Fan. Blues 3-2 over the Lightning. Shohei Ohtani's had surgery on his injured shoulder. Will be ready for spring training.
In local sports, Tiana Clark of the Port Angeles Rough Riders scored a penalty kick in the 62nd minute, giving her team a 1-0 lead over the 5th-ranked Bainbridge Spartans, who had only conceded 1 goal in the entire Olympic League season. Despite the upset alert, the Spartans then rallied to score twice, securing a 2-1 victory over a young Rough Rider team that played its best game of the year last night. The Riders, now 9-8, though, remain in contention for a state tournament berth. They face Steilacoom tomorrow night at Steilacoom with a kickoff at 7 p.m. A Rough Rider win would advance them to a winner-to-state loser-out game on Saturday night, and the loser of the North Kitsap versus Fife matchup for that. The Peninsula Pirates soccer teams will host the NWAC quarterfinals this Saturday. In today's women's match, Tacoma faces Portland, with the winner set to play the Pirate women Saturday at noon. On the men's side, Tacoma plays Lane College today. The winner will meet the Pirate men Saturday at 2:30 p.m. In NWAC men's basketball, former Peninsula Pirate forward Malik Jackson, now with the University of Alaska Anchorage, scored 9 points and grabbed 5 rebounds in his debut against Warner Pacific. And KONP has added 2 extra high school basketball broadcasts to our schedule this year. On December 2nd, the Rough Rider girls season opener will air at Forks. On January 2nd, KONP will broadcast the Squim Wolves girls game against East Jefferson in Port Townsend. That has a 3:30 p.m. tip-off.
This is Ed from Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales. Our family has trucked hay to feed the hungry animals in Western Washington for 4 generations. In that time, we have built a growing legacy of serving the needs of our customers, and we've never stopped. In 2014, we ventured into the equipment world by becoming a dealer and service provider for Mahindra Tractors. Since then, we have partnered with quality brands such as Bad Boy, Aaron's Gravely, LS Tractor, Husqvarna, Snake River Trailers, and now Wacker Noyson Construction Equipment. We have a 3-bay shop where we not only service the brands we sell, but we also work on most major brands including Kubota, John Deere, and New Holland. We carry a wide variety of parts, filters, belts, and fluids. We have a fully stocked hydraulic shop and can build hoses for most machines while you wait. Chainsaw or weed eater needs some TLC, we work on small engines too. We even offer welding and fabrication services. We have been earning the Peninsula's trust for over 25 years with your animal's care. We look forward to earning your trust with your equipment's care too.
Newsradio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Donald Trump's presidential victory may impact the U.S. economic outlook and alter the Federal Reserve's policy and could potentially lead to upward pressure on prices, wages, and the federal deficit. Trump's economic proposals, including tariffs and tax cuts, may complicate the Fed's job of lowering inflation to 2% and could lead to a more cautious approach to interest rate cuts. The Fed is meeting this week and is expected to lower interest rates another 0.25%. Donald Trump's re-election may also lead to another round of trade disruptions with China, affecting American farmers who largely support Trump. Despite his tariffs causing a significant drop in soybean sales to China, farmers trust him to equalize trade. Stocks today are surging up between 2.3 and 3.3%. The dollar and Bitcoin are also moving higher, but the bond market is sinking with worries about inflation spikes from Trump policies. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
At the Best of Fall sale at Angelus Furniture, you'll see incredible sale pricing on several different Lazy Boy recliner styles. The Vail Rocker Recliner is only $549, or take a step up to the Pinnacle Rocker Recliner for $799. Maybe you just need some cushy luxury in the Redwood Rocker Recliner at just $1149. You'll also see Stanton Sofa Sleepers on sale as low as $1499 for a twin. You'll fall into these savings right now during the Best of Fall sale at Angelus Furniture.
At McCrory Carpet One, they sell more than just carpet. If you walk on it, they carry it. Hardwood, laminate, vinyl, tile, stone, and more. Plus, experience their award-winning installation service on everything they sell. Because McCrory's sells more flooring than anyone else on the peninsula, and Carpet One stores sell more flooring nationally than anyone, they can say always priced right and always done right. McCrory Carpet One, serving the community since 1958.
News Radio KONP, traffic and roads.
Let's head up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center now. That's where Steve's standing by with an eye on the traffic this noon hour for us. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, looking good. Port Angeles Swim area shouldn't have much problems making your way around. Just moderate traffic right now, kind of steady all the way around town. Not really too many delays, a little bit on the east end of Port Angeles along Washington Street and Squim, but other than that, we're doing pretty well. Highway 101 between the two cities is busy, but it is moving along at the speed limit. Little slowdowns out there around the Carlsberg area. Beyond that, Hood Canal Bridge, good to go with no scheduled marine openings, and state ferries are running on time today. West End traffic, 101's in good shape all the way out to the Forks area. Just light traffic, light to moderate out there as well, and moving along at the speed limit. So everybody enjoy your afternoon. Be safe. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
All right, thanks, Steve. Currently cloudy across the peninsula. It is 48 in Port Townsend, 55 out west at Forks. It's 52 in Squim, 48 in downtown Port Angeles, and it's 50 now out at Fairchild Airport.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
When someone survives cardiac arrest, they often feel like they have a new lease on life. Understandably so. They might make changes to their diet, how much they exercise, maybe they give up smoking or drinking. But according to a new study out of the Netherlands, one thing often overlooked is the survivor's mental health. Consider the fact that in the years following a cardiac arrest, many people go on to develop anxiety or depression. Again, very understandable. Aside from medications, which sometimes might be necessary, this is really a call for doctors and patients and friends and family alike to consider the mental and emotional well-being as vital to long-term recovery. And what does that look like? Well, diet and exercise can help there as well. So can prioritizing sleep and socializing. Also, therapy is another great tool, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Are you a chronic interrupter? Incapable of letting other people talk? Do those people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should go to Mattress Firm. They have a 120-night sleep trial, so you can get your money back if a bed's not right. That way anyone, even someone like you, can sleep. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart, and this is One Moment in America. With all the people talking today, most all we hear is hard to remember. But there are a few crucial words we should never forget. I'll give you those words after this important message. Hello, Jerry Stewart here. Recently, as I spoke to a group of sixth graders about our America and the stories of we the people, to my surprise, one young boy did not understand just who we the people are. For a moment, I was puzzled. He does not know who we the people are? Then it hit me. Why would he know? We hardly even talk these days about our great America and the great part played by we the people and God to give us our greatness. Do your children know the stories of America, our real greatness as a nation, as a people? Go to my website now at jerrystewartusa.com or call 817-995-6965 and look at real, true story lessons written by me to teach our children about the virtues we must teach them now. 10 lessons for just $35 delivered right to your computer. Let's save America. Call now. Today, America is still a free nation, and we owe so much of our freedom to our veterans and those still serving today. How do I know? Because freedom always has a price to pay, and someone must pay it. You see, it's not the reporter who gives us freedom of the press, it's our military. It's not the campus organizer who gives us the freedom to demonstrate, it's our military. It is our military, our veterans, who salute the flag, serve the flag, and sadly whose coffin is draped by the flag. Today, remember your freedom and who has paid, is paying that price for your freedom. I'm Jerry Stewart, and that was One Moment in America.
Washington State News Network, I'm Michael McDonald. Bob Ferguson will be the next governor of the state of Washington. The Democrat defeated his Republican opponent, Dave Reichert. Ferguson said he'll be leading government that produces core freedoms, fighting for all Washingtonians.
As your governor, I will center you, each and every one of you, red counties, blue counties, Republicans, Democrats, independents. You are top of my mind. I'm thinking of you, will advocate for you, will make Washington even a greater state than it is today.
Ferguson will take the position over from Democratic incumbent Jay Inslee. Maria Cantwell wins the Senate race as the Democratic incumbent beat out Republican Raul Garcia. Cantwell has served as the junior senator from Washington State since 2001. In the race for Attorney General, Nick Brown is leading Pasco Mayor Pete Serrano 56% to 44%. And in the Commissioner of Public Lands, Diane Upthegrove leading Jamie Herrera Butler by a slim margin. The next vote count is coming up tomorrow. A 21-year-old Kennewick man died in a crash last evening on Highway 395 in Pasco near the I-182 interchange. Washington State Patrol says that the man's 2004 Escape veered off the roadway and struck a concrete pillar just before 5 p.m. He was pronounced dead at the scene. No other vehicles involved. The cause of the crash remains under investigation. For more details on these stories and many others, download the free WSNN mobile app or visit WashingtonStateNews.net.
If you're a contractor, it's now easier for you to do business with the Department of Labor and Industries. Go to lni.wa.gov/skip the line and make an appointment with us ahead of time. No waiting around, no wasted time away from your job site. You get in, get out, and get on your way. Easy. So contractors, just go to lni.wa.gov/skip the line to make an appointment and get back to doing what you do best.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Kamala Harris did not speak to supporters Tuesday night, but is expected to speak this afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern from Howard College. After losing the presidential election to Donald Trump, Harris trailed Trump in every battleground state, a profound rejection by American voters. University of Virginia political analyst Larry Sabato said voters sent a clear message.
They were saying what you expect people to say when they're unhappy at the end of a presidential administration. And it wasn't enough simply to change the nominee.
Sabato says Trump may enter office with Republican control of Congress and a Supreme Court packed with conservatives.
I can make an argument that no president has had this much power since Franklin Roosevelt. No president. Right? Reagan didn't. Obama didn't. You have to go back to Roosevelt. And that's where presidential character and personal character really matter.
Political analyst Larry Sabato. Harris has reportedly called Donald Trump to congratulate him on his victory. Also at townhall.com, it was quite the opening on Wall Street this morning.
The Dow opened 1,100 points higher as Wall Street, Elon Musk's Tesla, banks, and Bitcoin all stormed higher following Donald Trump's win in Tuesday's presidential election. The S&P 500 rose 2%, and the NASDAQ Composite rose 1.9%. Investors expect Mr. Trump's victory to lead to faster economic growth and more market-friendly policy.
Correspondent Jeremy House reporting. Trump Media and Technology Group, the company behind the Truth Social platform, soared this morning. On Wall Street, stocks remain sharply higher. The Dow is up nearly 3.5%. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Our nation's problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight, which is why we must prepare now for a financial collapse that will affect the entire economy. The good news is there's an easy way to do that. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe everyone should consider a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group to diversify their IRA or 401k. Gold is a proven bedrock in almost every kind of economy. To learn more, get a free info kit from my trusted friends at Birch Gold by texting the word PREPARE to 989898. Don't wait until decades of government irresponsibility comes crashing down on your retirement. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group now. Text PREPARE to the number 989898. That's PREPARE to 989898.
The UK moves to make the purchase of cigarettes illegal.
Legislation intended to ban today's British children from ever legally being able to smoke began its journey through Parliament on Tuesday. The Tobacco and Vapes Bill would also bar smoking and vaping in some outdoor spaces, such as playgrounds and the entrances to schools and hospitals. But a proposed ban on smoking in pub beer gardens has been dropped after opposition from bar owners. The bill also proposes to restrict vape flavours and ban bright vape packaging aimed at children. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
British health officials say they've identified 4 cases of the new, more infectious version of Mpox that first emerged in Congo, marking the first time the variant has caused a cluster of illness outside of Africa. Scientists say the risk to the public remains low. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. UN figures show poppy cultivation in Afghanistan increased by almost 20% over the past 12 months, despite a ban by the Taliban.
2.5 years ago, the Taliban proclaimed that growing poppies was illegal. In the years after they regained power, production plummeted, and the latest figures are still but a fraction of what they used to be. Interestingly, the center of poppy cultivation has now shifted away from the Taliban stronghold in the south to the northeast. Poppy farmers are finding it hard to recover from the ban, with alternative crops not providing a sufficient income.
BBC correspondent Sasha Schlichter. Well, it finally happened. Japan's Mount Fuji has finally got its trademark snowcap, more than a month after it normally would, after setting a record for the most delayed snowfall in 130 years. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This is the Newsradio KONP Noon Report.
Todd Ortloff in the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Wednesday, November 6th. Let's take a look at the local election results as of last night. In the 6th Congressional District race, Democrat Emily Randall leading with 57% of the vote over Republican Drew McEwen. For Legislative District 24 in the state Senate race, Democrat Mike Chapman gets 56% of the vote over Republican Marcia Kelbon, who came in with just under 44% of the vote last night. For State Rep Position 1, Democrat Adam Birnbaum has 56% of the vote against Republican Matthew Roberson. And for State Representative Position 2, incumbent Democrat Steve Theringer leads with 57% of the vote over Republican Terry Roberts. For Clallam County Commissioner, incumbent Randy Johnson leads with 55% over Democrat Kate Dexter with just under 45% of the vote. For PUD Commissioner District 3, Phyllis Bernard leading with 53% of the vote against Ken Simpson's 47%. In some local measures, Port Angela School District's levy has been approved with 59% saying yes, and its bond issue also approved with almost 62% yes vote. Fire District 2's property tax levy lid lift has been approved with a 58% yes vote. In the race for governor, Democrat Bob Ferguson has won with 56% of the vote over Republican Dave Reichert, who got about 44%. In the closely watched Commissioner of Public Lands race, Democrat Dave Upthegrove leads with 53% of the vote against Republican Jamie Herrera Butler, and she's got 47% of the vote through last night's count. And for Superintendent of Public Instruction, incumbent Chris Reichdahl leads with 53% of the vote over challenger David Olson, who's gotten about 46% of the count. There were several Washington state ballot measures on before the voters yesterday. Here's the results so far in Initiative 2066. This is ensuring access to natural gas. It's leading with 51% saying yes. But the other three initiatives are all going down to defeat. Initiative 2117 to prohibit the carbon tax credit trading, no, has led with 61% of the vote. The initiative to repeal the capital gains tax with a no vote, 63.2% saying to keep it. And the one that would allow employees to opt out of Washington Care has been defeated with 56% saying no to that initiative. More news after this.
You have a neighborhood auto parts store in Sequim ready to help. Such as when you're getting your trailer set up for the season, rely on A1 Auto Parts and Marine to keep your outdoor adventure on the road. Trailer brakes, axles, bearings, even a hydraulic hose fixed. A1 Auto will custom make hydraulic hose while you wait. Find the experts at A1 Auto Parts and Marine to help keep your Northwest adventure moving.
Beat the holiday rush. Save on gifts and essentials for the whole family.
Coastal Farm and Ranch. We're just what the country needs.
On Wednesday, October 30th through Friday, November 8th, browse all our Black Friday-worthy deals on apparel. Like $15 off all jeans for the family that start at $49.99. It's the biggest Carhartt event of the year. Get your casual and cold weather Carhartt staples like sweatshirts, boots, and caps at unbeatable prices. Plus, receive a $20 gift card when you buy $100 in Carhartt gear. Don't forget to visit our other departments for savings on favorites like safes, stoves, feed, and more. Shop the sale in-store or online at coastalcountry.com and try in-store pickup for a seamless shopping experience.
Coastal Farm and Ranch. We're just what the country needs.
Get a head start on the holidays and save by November 8th.
In other news, the Clallam County Sheriff's Office is investigating what Chief Criminal Deputy Amy Bundy says is a death at a private residence where the circumstances are deemed suspicious. Bundy said there was nothing else she could release about it to us at this point because it's still an active investigation. It's happening near Sequim at a home in the area of Woodcock Road and Ridgeview Drive. The effort to build a joint public safety facility in Port Angeles that would house both the county's Emergency Operations Center and the 911 Communications Center is facing a setback, and city and county officials working to try to submit a pared-down redesign before some critical grants might run out. AOC, the designer architect on the project, came back with a bid of about $30 million to build the facility that the officials wanted. However, Clallam County's Sheriff Brian King was frank in describing their reaction as sticker shock because the budget the city and the county have to work with is short of that by some $10 million. He says all concerned agreed that raising another $10 million is not going to happen, and there seems to be no will on the part of the City Council or the County Board of Commissioners to take on any debt for the project. So now the parties are in the process of negotiating a redesign of the new joint public safety facility that could be built with a total budget of just over $20 million. Half of that budget is in the form of FEMA and state commerce grants. Those could expire if new design documents aren't submitted soon, though. Sheriff King told KONP they're now focusing on must-have versus nice-to-have facilities and a smaller footprint on the property on Lordson Boulevard near the airport. Among the must-haves, King says they must build a seismically tolerant operations center and a 911 center that will stand up to a Cascadia subduction zone type of an event. As for the city's part, which is the 911 center, Police Chief Brian Smith told us the new layout still has some must-haves.
And the city wants a, resilient, modern 911 center that has adequate space for, up to 50 years of growth in Clallam County. So the floor area where the consoles are, the offices for the supervisors and the core functions around that would be like the have-to-haves. But we're not giving up anything that's going to compromise our effectiveness. I mean, as I've seen the redesign, a vast improvement over what we have right now. Much, much better. I mean, that's the one that's been scaled down. So if we can get that one across the finish line, we'll be in great shape.
And while the commerce grants don't expire till June, the architect has already said they are past the point where they can get the bid documents prepared in time. So how concerned is Sheriff King that it can be done? He told us in a written statement, quote, "Concerned, yes, but not panicked yet. We can request an extension, which we'll likely need to do. As long as we have a viable project, the extension should be granted, but there are no guarantees. We will also need to request a change to the FEMA grant in terms of allowable expenditures, essentially ask to be able to use those grant dollars for pre-construction related expenses. Costs have consistently escalated since the project's inception, according to the sheriff." Washington State's courts' online systems have been down since Monday after officials said they detected unauthorized activity on the electronic network. It is affecting operations at the Clallam County District Courts this week. As the state court's administrative office works to restore the systems and determine how the network was impacted, Wendy Farrell with the State Administrative Office of the court said she could not provide details about the outage for security reasons. At the courthouse in Port Angeles, Court Administrator Nikki Botman told KONP yesterday that because all the systems are down, they're not able to access their daily court calendars. They can't take in funds in the normal way, so they've gone back to using their old-fashioned receipt book. They can't look up cases for people, but they do have access to their paper records, so if a person has a case number, they should be able to help them at this point. Altman said that AOC has told them systems will certainly be down for the rest of the week, but they don't know how extended that shutdown will be. She said they are still opening new cases, processing protection orders, and most other functions, but she's asking folks to practice a bit more patience as the state works on the problem. This is Newsradio KONP.
Projects piling up? See Brim Tractor in Carlsberg. Get as low as 0% financing for 84 months on Bobcat compact tractors. How about a Bobcat zero-turn mower? Finance it for as low as 0% for 48 months. Or get rebates up to $900 in lieu of financing on select models. Visit Brim Tractor, Highway 101 in Carlsberg, or online at brimmachinery.com. Some exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
The electric stove, the refrigerator, the vacuum. All advances in technology that had a profound impact on society. But the creation of one specific device brought the world together. And you're listening to it. With the invention of the radio, advertisers soon realized the power of marketing to a mass audience. And one advertiser took advantage of radio's true strength. On Christmas Eve, 1926, the first radio jingle was broadcast. And soon, the struggling Washburn Crosby Company and their little cereal became the most popular brand in America. Since then, advertisers have used jingles and radio to stay at the top of your mind. And you have the chance to do the same. Make that lasting connection with your future customers. Call 457-1450 to find out how affordable radio really is and how easy it is to be a part of it. Radio Pacific, a multi-station radio network.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Mainly cloudy skies expected this afternoon, with daytime highs approaching 51. Westerly winds around 5 miles per hour. Mainly clear and foggy tonight, lows around 42. Chance for isolated showers tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 54. Mainly cloudy skies expected with fog early. 55 Friday with isolated showers likely. 53 Saturday. Chance for showers continues. Taking a look at the extended forecast. 49 Sunday, 48 Monday, and 49 on Tuesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 50.
Join us next hour for the Todd Ortloff Show. Most of the hour, we're going to be talking with Nathan West, City Manager for Port Angeles, about housing issues and things the city has been doing. He's going to go through some of the strategic plan and the housing plan, some accomplishments relative to that, and also some current permitting trends that have been happening in the city. Should be an interesting discussion. That'll be right after the news coming up next hour on the TO Show here on KONP. Now let's check sports with Robert Workman next.
The first college football playoff rankings are out. Oregon is number 1, followed by Ohio State, Georgia, and Miami. But the Buckeyes would not get a bye if the playoffs started today because those go to conference champions. So 9th-ranked BYU, undefeated atop the Big 12, would move up. Ohio State would become a 5 seed. Still a lot of football to play, though. NFL Week 10 begins tomorrow night in Baltimore with the Bengals at the Ravens. NFL trade deadline on Tuesday. More receivers on the move. Mike Williams from the Jets to the Steelers. Jonathan Mingo from the Panthers to the Cowboys. And guys to cover them, too. The Ravens get Tre'Davious White from the Rams, and the Commanders add All-Pro Marshawn Lattimore from the Saints. Also, edge rushers Preston Smith from Green Bay to Pittsburgh, Zadarius Smith from Cleveland to Detroit, and Baron Browning from Denver to Arizona. NHL Tuesday, the Jets shut out Utah 3-0. Connor Hellebuck stopped 21 shots. Nino Niederreiter scored twice. That's Winnipeg's 12th win in 13 games this season. Maple Leafs blanked the Bruins 4-0, 29 saves for Anthony Stolarz. Hurricanes scored twice in the final minute to upend the Flyers 6-4. Sharks nipped the Blue Jackets 2-1 in overtime. Flames the Canadians 3-2. Matt Coronado tied it with 3 minutes left, then netted the winner 7 seconds into OT. Islanders edged the Penguins in a shootout. Bo Horvat, the only tally in the tiebreaker. Kings, Sabres, Canucks, Blues, and Avalanche also winners. And Dodger star Shohei Ohtani underwent surgery for a labrum tear he suffered during the World Series. The team says he should be all set for spring training. That's Wednesday Sports.
It's time for Your Port of PA Today. A look inside the port and share what's in it for you.
Hello, this is Colleen McAleer, District 1 Port Commissioner. I'm proud the port has over 100 years of bringing people, resources, and industry together to foster economic prosperity for Clallam County residents. A great example of this has been the port's partnership with Stay Beecraft as they move their North American headquarters to the Port of PA. Our area offers numerous advantages for businesses: a deep water port, a strong qualified workforce, and competitive operational costs that attract domestic and international businesses to our area. We're continuing to foster economic prosperity for the people that call Clallam County home.
If you have questions or comments, please send them to hello@portofpa.com.
This has been Your Port of PA Today. Explore portofpa.com.
Your community-minded friends at First Fed bring you the Community Corner, highlighting good things happening right here in our area.
This Saturday, come give a little or a lot during the Lakeside Industries Swains Food Drive for the PA Food Bank. Team members from Lakeside Industries and Swains General Store will be on hand in the Swains East parking lot collecting your donations from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. this Saturday. Your non-perishable food and cash donations are critical in helping the PA Food Bank to ensure no family or person goes hungry this holiday season. Come out, drop off your cash donation or unopened prepackaged food items on Saturday. For any donation of 5 pounds of food or a minimum $10 cash donation, you'll receive a big thank you and a $10 off Swains coupon. You'll also be entered to win a $100 Swains gift card. With your help, Lakeside Industries and Swains are paving the way past hunger.
Community Corner, presented by First Fed.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Stocks are at an all-time high following Donald Trump's presidential victory. They're up between 2.5% and 3.6%. Investors are pricing in tax cuts and other policies that Trump has proposed. What's not known is how long this rally will last. Those benefiting from the win are Elon Musk, with Tesla shares surging up 14%, and Bitcoin prices headed higher today after Trump promised to make the U.S. a digital currency superpower. The Federal Reserve started its two-day meeting on interest rates today. Fed Chair Jay Powell came under enormous pressure in Donald Trump's first term, as Trump wanted to lower interest rates and called out the Fed for shrinking its balance sheet. McDonald's is returning spicy chicken McNuggets to its menu. They're seasoned with cayenne and chili peppers and have not been on the menu since 2022. The menu addition comes as McDonald's tries to rebound after a recent E. coli outbreak related to onions on Quarter Pounders. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
Let's get a last check of the noontime road and traffic conditions next. Brought to you this time out by Olympic Medical Center and by Leeds Farm Supply.
Every second matters. When you or your loved one shows symptoms of a stroke, seconds matter. At Olympic Medical Center, we've been recognized with acute stroke certification, which means we're prepared the moment you arrive with stroke symptoms. For immediate, expert stroke care, trust Olympic Medical Center is always acute stroke ready. Learn more at olympicmedical.org/stroke ready.
Bad Boy tractors are born from the legendary Bad Boy mowers. From 20 to 35 horsepower, subcompact to midsize, Bad Boy combines power, performance, comfort, and as always, build strength to deliver the workhorse dependability you need to get the job done and done right. Homeowner, landscaper, or rancher, there's a Bad Boy tractor for you to work with an attitude.
Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales is your Bad Boy tractor dealer in Sequim. Call 360-452-1400 to learn more.
News Radio KONP, traffic and roads.
Up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center we go now. That is where Steve's standing by with one last look at the noontime road conditions for us. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, not too bad out there. It is a little bit on the busy side, but really traffic is moving along pretty well out there. Downtown Port Angeles area is in good shape. Same thing in Sequim along Washington Street. If you're on the highway between the two cities, really no issues right now. Light to moderate traffic out there. It is moving along at the speed limit. If you're headed beyond that, Hood Canal Bridge, we are still good to go with no scheduled openings so far this afternoon. State ferries are also running on time today. West End traffic, no real issues out there. Light to moderate traffic and at the speed limit. So everybody enjoy your afternoon and be safe. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
Hey, thanks, Steve. Your heart health not being helped by a stressful workplace. Here's ABC's Dave Packer.
Even people without any known heart disease can see a negative impact on their heart health in a stressful workplace. A study in the Journal of the American Heart Association looked at body mass index, diet, cholesterol, blood pressure, and blood glucose levels. It found that men and women between 45 and 84 who have not experienced heart issues will nevertheless have up to a 27% less favorable health profile when they're subjected to consistent work-related stress. Dave Packer, ABC News.
A new study by the American Academy of Pediatrics shows the impact caffeinated drinks has on teens. And for a growing number of them, it ends up with a trip to the hospital. ABC's Michelle Franson with more.
It's hard for teens to throttle back sometimes, from screen time to sleep and even caffeine. A study shows the rate of 11 to 14-year-olds visiting hospital ERs for caffeine overdoses has doubled since 2017. Health officials say teens who are drinking the popular energy, sports, and coffee drinks are not heeding warnings. The recommended consumption for teens is no more than 100 milligrams of caffeine per day, equal to about 1 cup of coffee a day. Some of those drinks readily available at stores can contain 3 times that amount in one can. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
It's used by millions of school students around the world, but it wasn't always that way. ABC's Sherry Preston with more on the inventor of the modern-day school backpack.
Backpacks used to be big, heavy, and used mostly just by outdoorsmen and campers. In the 1960s, Murray McCrory came along, winning a contest in the Pacific Northwest to design a lighter-weight aluminum pack. After that, he and his then-wife Jan further tweaked the product to carry their books at the University of Washington. They named their new company Jan Sport and eventually became popular with students all over the country. Murray McCrory, who also invented the dome-shaped tent, died last month at the age of 80. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Let's get a Consumer Tech Minute next from Kim Commando.
Let's be very blunt. You cannot be arrested by an email or a text or a phone call. This is the latest scam sweeping the country. It may sound crazy, but people are falling for it. I'm Kim Commando for NetSuite. Download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning for free at netsuite.com/Kim. If you receive an email or text with a warrant for your arrest, along with a very convenient way to pay a fine by credit card, the whole thing's phony. The same with scammers posing as agents for the IRS, the Department of Homeland Security, and United States Customs. These characters, usually with an accent, try to intimidate and frighten you by claiming that unless you pay some sort of fine right now, agents are on their way to arrest you. Bottom line, no law enforcement agency works this way. No one calls, no one texts, no one emails. No law enforcement provides a way to pay fines over the phone. Don't fall for it, because if you ever get arrested, you'll know it. Join over 500,000 folks that get my free newsletter at getkim.com. What does the future hold for business? Ask 9 experts and you'll get 10 answers. Rates rising or falling, inflation being up or down. Can someone please invent a crystal ball? Until then, over 40,000 businesses have future-proofed their business with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud ERP, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one fluid platform. With one unified business management suite, there's one source of truth, giving you the visibility and control you need to make quick decisions. With real-time insights and forecasting, you're peering into the future with actionable data. When you're closing the books in days, not weeks, you're spending less time looking backwards and more time on what's next. If I had needed this product, it's exactly what I would use. And speaking of opportunity, you can now download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Kim. This guide is free to you right now at netsuite.com/Kim. netsuite.com/Kim.
A blow to the head is no joke and deserves some serious recovery time. We'll talk more after this.
Bioptimizer's Black Friday blowout sale is now. For 20 years, Bioptimizers has provided top supplements like Magnesium Breakthrough, the only product with all 7 types of magnesium to support sleep, stress management, hormone balance, and mood. Make your health a priority this holiday season and visit bioptimizers.com/radio and use code RADIO to get a minimum of 10% off and up to $100 in free gifts with purchase. Go to bioptimizers.com/radio and use code RADIO today.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
We often see athletes, especially football players, taking a hard hit to the head, suffering a concussion, and then coming back onto the field just a week or 2 later. But research is showing that some people continue to experience concussion symptoms up to a half a year after their injury. These symptoms can include things like headaches, light sensitivity, as well as sleep and mood disturbance. While it's understandable that the pressure to compete and the love of a sport can push athletes to minimize, ignore, or deny symptoms, it is both dangerous and foolish to do so. You risk prolonging injury time and long-term damage. And there's a saying in sports medicine, when in doubt, sit out. With Your Body, I'm ABC's Dr. Jennifer Ashton.
If you're taking a calcium supplement, it's probably not doing what you think it is.
That's because you still lose bone density with traditional calcium supplements. That's where calcium from algae comes in. AlgaeCal Plus doesn't just stop bone loss. It's the only supplement ever shown to increase bone density in clinical studies. That's right, AlgaeCal Plus increases bone density, even if you're in your 80s. That's because your bones need more than just calcium and vitamin D to stay strong. There are actually 13 minerals and 3 vitamins needed to build healthy new bone, and AlgaeCal Plus contains all of them, and it's proudly made in the USA. Your calcium doesn't increase bone density. AlgaeCal Plus does. Talk to one of our bone health consultants today and see how AlgaeCal Plus can start increasing your bone density. Call now.
800-395-7074. 800-395-7074. 800-395-7074. That's 800-395-7074.
The North Peninsula's news. The North Peninsula's talk. News Radio KONP, Port Angeles, Sequim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Americans delivered a message sending Donald Trump back to the White House with the economy the top issue for voters. At his Florida watch party overnight, President-elect Trump vowing to unite the country, he says, and usher in a new golden age.
America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate.
Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris spoke by phone earlier. She congratulated Trump on the win, and the Trump campaign says they spoke about the importance of a peaceful transition. The vice president set to speak publicly for the first time this hour since losing the race. ABC's Zoreen Shaw is at Harris's alma mater, Howard University in Washington, D.C., where supporters waited for hours last night.
You can hear the music behind me, but it certainly is a very, very different feeling out here. I mean, last night there were thousands of people out here, and today there's a huge patch right here that's just completely empty. A very different feeling out here. One person who I spoke to who was here last night said it feels like a funeral.
President Biden also congratulated Trump and invited him to a White House transition meeting. Trump's team working on a transition of power. The president-elect speaking with world leaders, including France's president today. Reaction mixed in Europe and around the world on Trump's second term, including Trump's stance on NATO and Ukraine. On Wall Street, stocks rallied on the decisive elections. ABC's Alexis Christoforous explains.
This is because investors are betting that Trump's policies will benefit them. And he was always really seen as the more friendly candidate to corporate America. He wants to lower the corporate tax rate, we know, down to 15% from its current 21%. And so deregulation, tax cuts, this is music to the ears of banking companies.
Rafael, now a Category 3 hurricane hitting portions of Cuba today and also targeting Gulf states and the Florida Keys. Tropical force winds expected to begin today. You're listening to ABC News.
When you're hiring for your business, ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology makes finding qualified candidates for your job easy. This made us wonder, what if the rest of the world was as easy as ZipRecruiter? Math problems wouldn't be so problematic.
K equals 42.
Escape rooms? Elementary. And summiting Everest would be a walk in the park. In the meantime, if you want to make your hiring easier, use ZipRecruiter. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Simple. So, see what the world is like when ZipRecruiter does the hard work of hiring for you. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
8 days after devastating floods killed at least 217 people in eastern Spain, officials are still patrolling the coast of Valencia looking for victims. 89 people confirmed missing. In Lahore, Pakistan, schools are closed and government employees are told to stay home amid record high air pollution. Doctors are reporting an increase in people seeking treatment for smog-related ailments. Authorities warning a lockdown of the city could be imminent if residents fail to wear face masks. Extreme Santa Ana winds escalating fire dangers in Southern California.
In what is the strongest Santa Ana wind event of the year, a rare what's called dangerous situation red flag warning is now in place for LA and Ventura counties, and an extreme fire risk warning has been posted north of Los Angeles, where winds could reach 100 miles an hour. Already at least 2 wind-driven wildfires are burning. One in Ventura County has grown to hundreds of acres, and buildings are in danger of burning. Alex Stone, EBC News.
A stressful workplace can take a toll on your heart. According to a new study, even people without any cardiovascular disease can see a negative impact on their health in a stressful work environment. In Los Angeles, a funeral mass celebrating the life of Dodgers great Fernando Valenzuela. He died last month at the age of 63. In 1981, Valenzuela became the first player to win a Cy Young Award.
End-of-life decisions are hard. Be it pre-planning or sudden loss, you need to have an advocate in your corner, which is why I wholeheartedly recommend Drennan & Ford Funeral Home and Crematory in Port Angeles, the only locally owned funeral home and crematory in Clallam County. Their expertise ensures a smooth process, so you can focus on healing and being with your loved ones. Their help through the darkest time in my life will forever stay with me. Call 360-457-1210.
Sail away to Victoria, BC on the MV Coho to see the magic of Christmas at the Butchart Gardens. Stroll through the 12 days of Christmas displays with nearly 1 million twinkling lights from December 1st to the 31st. Packages include ferry fare, a hotel stay in downtown Victoria, and the Butchart Gardens admission with shuttle transportation. Overnight packages from only $174 per person based on double occupancy. Visit cohoferry.com to start planning your holiday getaway.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. 457-6600. Local election results last night. The winners, Democrat Emily Randall for 6th District Congress. In the state Senate, Democrat Mike Chapman, Democrat Adam Birnbaum for State Rep Position 1, and incumbent Democrat Steve Theringer for Position 2. Incumbent Randy Johnson winning the Clallam County Commissioner District 2 seat, and for Clallam PUD Commissioner Phyllis Bernard is in the lead. The Port Angelo School District levy and bond measures both have been approved, and the property tax levy lid lift for Fire District 2 also was approved and results released last night.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon, with daytime highs approaching 51. West winds around 5 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies, with fog at times. Tonight, lows around 42. Chance for isolated showers and foggy early tomorrow. Highs level off around 54. Mainly cloudy skies expected. 55 Friday with isolated showers likely. 53 Saturday. Chance for showers continues. Looking at the long range, 49 Sunday, 48 Monday, and 49 on Tuesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 50 degrees.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
And welcome once again to the program on this Wednesday afternoon. We welcome to the studio Nathan West, who we have not had on for a couple of months now, so it's good to have Nathan back again in his regular stead on a regular feature here. Good to see you, Nathan.
Todd, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
And today we're going to focus all about housing. It's a huge issue. It's something we talk a lot about, but Nathan has come prepared to kind of dive into some of the what has happened with a strategic plan related to housing, how the city may or may not be responding in certain ways, and really just to get us up to date as to where things are standing as we look at trying to figure out this conundrum that is called housing. I should emphasize this too. This is a problem that is happening in places all over, not just Port Angeles, but certainly we have some unique perspective to things here as well. So Nathan, with that said, let's kind of just roll back, because there's actually a strategic housing plan. We've talked about it in the past. I was looking at your notes that you sent in here. I didn't realize it's been 3 years since that was first kind of developed.
Yeah, so it has been since 2021 that we created the strategic plan that really emphasized Council's number one issue of critical importance is housing. And that plan was really all about how can we see more housing implemented what can we do differently to ensure that housing is put into play in Port Angeles and more successful from a development perspective. And what I think is so important is the city has had a bit of a journey here in that, we started probably earlier recognizing the housing challenges Port Angeles has is more of a crisis. It's something that we have to actively tackle as a city, and it should be our priority. And I think what causes me to want to talk about the entire journey is recognizing we're about to make a shift to a new strategic plan at the city, which council has recently adopted. And I want to talk about what's been accomplished along the way. I want to talk about some of the permitting trends that we saw as a result of the efforts that we've made since 2021, and then finally talk a little bit about our forward direction and some of those new steps.
So, and I recall when we talked about the plan being put together back then, this really was the first time I think the city did more than just talk about it. I hate to say it that way, but really kind of put this on paper as to how are we going to get from A to B to C to D to tackle this. There was a lot of talk about housing issues, but not really a formulated plan.
I agree, Todd, and I think there were a number of years prior to that we really struggled to get things done and active changes. But I think what we have seen since 2021 is the city has actually become a leader in Washington State relative to the innovation, implementation, and strategic action that we've implemented through that plan. And so I think it's important to take a look at we have done everything from doing major changes to our land use code, to taking advantage of every possible housing grant opportunity that's been out there for us, to looking more specifically at what are those zoning constraints that are keeping some of the development from being successful, and then finally, what are those incentives that we can actually provide? And I think as a city team, city council, city staff, and probably most notably the Community and Economic Development Department, I think we've done a really good job of ensuring this plan got implemented and setting a tone that, frankly, the legislature has mimicked relative to what they've since required of local jurisdictions, in that most of those steps we had already taken before it was required of us.
Yeah, things like accessory dwelling units, that's something the city was making allowable that now the state, almost carbon copy, take what you do allow, and putting
That's
one of
right.
those on a standard lot, for example.
Yeah, duplexes and accessory dwelling units on standard lots. It's a big deal.
If you would, though, we're going to go through this a little bit. Some of this, timing is everything. You put this into play, but how much do you think some of this has been hindered by just the headwinds of the economy, so to speak? This gets put in place, it gets rolled around, and bam, we have interest rate issues.
Yeah.
A lot of things that kind of cause developers to say, hang on, this might cost me too much to do right now.
I think it's been a major challenge for us. I think ultimately very few individuals, and you see that statistically relative to the property that has been purchased over the last year. It's a much wealthier demographic, and ultimately not able to invest in the housing types that we've incentivized and had available. If someone is looking to get a mortgage, for example, it is extremely difficult to pallet those interest rates.
Yeah, and that's for any sort of it's gotten to be a point where you almost have to be buying cash right
Exactly.
now if you or paying cash if you can. All right, take us through what kind of the city put in place in this, and maybe we can compare and contrast as well as to the things that they never had. You didn't have this in the city until this came along.
Right. So I think starting off with when you look at our land use code, really changing that lot size capability. So we have an entire city pre-platted at 7,000 square feet for the most part, and being able to break those up or apply 4 different units on those lots was a big shift and really kind of a tone setter of how significant of change our city council is willing to make in the direction of successful housing.
And I remember when this happened, that was a huge, that's a huge density step up.
Right.
If you want to look at it that way, and a major shift from what traditionally has been single family housing. That's pretty much what you get in Port Angeles. A house on a lot for a single family.
That's right. So now we have the ability to even subdivide some of those lots in multiple ways. And one of the next steps that we took was allowing for alley and street subdivision. So for example, instead of having someone have to come in and pay the costs of extending roadways or infrastructure, if you have access off of an alley or you have access off of a street or you want to divide a lot to where you're relying on those access points, it becomes that much easier for you to do what's called a short plat and divide the property. As well as I should throw out there that short plats now are up to 9 lots, which is a huge difference in that that's now an administrative process and not a major subdivision that has to go through a hearings examiner and things like that.
Yeah, so you can do this at the permit desk almost. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
It's not quite over the counter, and in fact, it takes quite a bit of time, but it's still administrative, which is a shorter time frame than if you have to go to a hearings examiner or a planning commission for approval.
Go back to the street extension issue and maybe explain for folks what that was like before and why that's a change. Is there a lot of property that becomes available by not having that requirement?
Well, it opens up. So if you think about the city, most of our lots are already developed with one single family residence. But let's say, for example, only the front half of the lot is utilized. If you want to utilize the back lot for an additional house or an accessory dwelling unit, you no longer have to worry about, do I have an adequate street width to be able to provide access to that unit in the rear of the lot, and it just helps with developability overall.
Yeah, exactly. So you can, and I guess you could address those as half addresses then, or something like that, and you can actually that be the front entrance to the back side of a lot.
Yeah, so it would be a half address if it's an accessory dwelling unit, but it could be a full address depending on whether it's a duplex or what you've actually put there.
Now we'll probably touch on this as we look at what kind of what people have done, but I have to ask: are there people? Have you seen some movement now that that's become allowable?
Absolutely. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that in detail. But let me highlight a few of those other changes first. I think it's important. We've also allowed park models as accessory dwelling units. We've eliminated the maximum sizes relative to accessory dwelling units. We've done additional steps to allow for manufactured homes, for trailer parks. Just recently eliminated the pit set requirement, which takes off about $15,000 of cost to a manufactured home, and then just greatly increased in densities across the board, and then also have the ability to apply overlay zones. So I think those are some pretty big steps, and probably it's important next to look at what are those incentives we did to have individuals take advantage of those new zoning code changes. And that really came down to looking at the 25 different permit fee types that we waived and ultimately council waived, which includes 15 different housing types. And so all of those permit fees, there is no cost right now, which I think has made a significant change relative to getting the types of development we want to see.
In a nutshell, tick through those just for folks to understand what now doesn't require a permit fee.
Yeah, so accessory dwelling units.
So any ADU that I put up, I'm not going to pay a permit fee on that.
Correct. Okay. Accessory dwelling units, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, cottage housing, caretaker units, apartment complexes, multifamily housing, townhome development, group homes, and I've got a few more, including permanent supportive housing, adult family homes, emergency housing, transitional housing, and low-income home ownership for single-family units, as well as economic hardship repairs to individual homes, which really helps preserve that housing stock.
Pretty much everything except a standard single-family house is got an exemption now, is what it sounds like.
That is correct, which is also very purposeful in that we are also looking towards the future, recognizing that the cost-benefit analysis of single-family dwellings does not enable sustainable city funding, sustainable city infrastructure in the long run. So it makes a long-term difference to this entire community as well as to your utility rates if we don't incentivize those single-family residents.
How much? Let's talk about putting a duplex up, for example. What's that going to save somebody at this point, if without having to do permit fees and all of that?
I would say it could be tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah. A lot it entirely depends on the value of the development that you're putting into play, because the permit fees are based on value.
Now, the argument, I think, and you've heard this, we talked about it too, is that, okay, on the backside of it, you alluded to it just a moment ago, is that, okay, how does the city make up those lost revenue, essentially? Because traditionally that goes to help pay for infrastructure, to pay for, inspections, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so one of the things that was done as a bit of a balancing act, and this was all done through what's known as the HAPPY grant, that included our pre-done plan sets as well as an analysis of city fees. So one of the things that we took a look at simultaneously is providing housing incentives within the fees, but also looking at our overall building permit fees, recognizing we hadn't even touched those in over 10 years with any kind of adjustment or increases. And so the other adjustments to the other types of construction, including commercial, industrial, and single-family dwellings, for example, those fee adjustments helped ultimately to pencil this out for the city budget.
All right. Before we hit the break, then we're going to come back. I want to talk about the permitting trends, what we're seeing is going on. But, in that, you talked about if somebody, if you have a developer that wanted to build a significant apartment complex, that could be a very substantial savings from what I understand in this, right?
Certainly. In some cases, it could exceed $100,000 just for a multifamily. It's a big deal to waive that fee.
All right. Well, we'll probably talk about this later, so I'll put this in your head. It's like, how do we get developers to think about things like that? Because that is kind of the quick, I'm going to say the quick fix, but it's a quicker fix to getting, more housing units into the market.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll dance around that one a little bit when we come back. We'll talk about some permitting trends and then kind of what might be next in all of this discussion. As Nathan West alluded to, there's a new plan that's going to be coming out from the city about how it helps address the housing crisis here locally. My guest is Nathan West. He is the city manager for Port Angeles. More with him right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Hello, this is Amanda Huff with Swim Valley and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapels. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a new, exciting, and environmentally friendly development in the funeral industry. It's called Natural Organic Reduction, or simply terramation. Perhaps you've heard of it. Terramation is a process in which the body, after death, is returned to the earth in a carbon-neutral, eco-friendly manner. The process takes place in a controlled environment, and all that remains is a natural, odorless, compost-like material. If you'd like more information about terramation and advanced planning, call us today at Harper Ridgeview in Port Angeles or Swim Valley Chapel and Swim, and one of our knowledgeable and caring funeral professionals will assist you in answering your questions. Harper Ridgeview and Swim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
Beat the holiday rush. Save on gifts and essentials for the whole family.
Coastal Farm and Ranch, we're just what the country needs.
On Wednesday, October 30th through Friday, November 8th, browse all our Black Friday-worthy deals on apparel, like $15 off all jeans for the family that start at $49.99. It's the biggest Carhartt event of the year. Get your casual and cold weather Carhartt staples like sweatshirts, boots, and caps at unbeatable prices. Plus, receive a $20 gift card when you buy $100 in Carhartt gear. Don't forget to visit our other departments for savings on favorites like safes, stoves, feed, and more. Shop the sale in-store or online at coastalcountry.com and try in-store pickup for a seamless shopping experience.
Coastal Farm and Ranch, we're just what the country needs.
Get a head start on the holidays and save by November 8th.
Olympic Hot Tub's Winter Wellness Event has the perfect holiday gift for you. A saltwater hot spring spa. Now get interest-free financing for 5 years. But hurry, it ends November 10th. Details at olympichottub.com. Better you, better life.
Head downtown this weekend for the 9th annual Novemberfest. More than 30 stores will offer fantastic sales, refreshments, and a drawing for a chance to win gift cards from over 30 businesses. Don't miss it. See you this Saturday, November 9th for Novemberfest, downtown Port Angeles.
Talking about housing and response to the housing crisis in the last number of years from the city of Port Angeles, kind of where things are at and then where they might be going policy-wise with city manager Nathan West. And Nathan was talking a bit about some of these things that were applied in this strategic housing plan that's been rolled out now for about 3 or 4 years, came out in 2021. I want to talk a bit about the permitting trends because I think that's kind of the follow-on to these policies. You know, what are they working, I guess, might be the first spot. So tell us a bit about what people seem to be most interested in maybe applying some of these changes.
No, I think, Todd, let me hit one more incentive first because that's really important to the way I think we're seeing some implementation. And that is the fact that the city has done some permit-ready plan sets, which are inclusive of accessory dwelling units, duplexes, and townhomes. And so what that does ultimately is not only have we waived fees for those types, but we've also got pre-done plan sets where the permit review has already been completed. And so ultimately the process is that much easier. The main focus of a developer is going to be cost of materials and labor. And I think that's a great incentive. So for those permit-ready plan sets, we've distributed them to 14 applicants so far. We've already issued permits for 5 units, including 2 duplexes and 1 accessory dwelling unit. Okay. So good to see some follow through on those. And I think in the future, my hope would be that we actually elaborate on some of those plan sets and see some additional plan sets in the near future that are also pre-permitted. And so I hope that that's something that we can report on very soon.
Okay. Let's talk about kind of the trends as we see them now. Kind of coming out of this wonkiness of what the real estate market may be, and maybe we're coming to the other side of it where there's a bit of light. Maybe these will change, but are people are you seeing some movement?
So I think if you think about the current economy and the interest rates, you would expect that we would see a pretty significant stall out, but we're actually seeing some good forward movement on those types of dwellings that we've been trying to incentivize. Mm-hmm. And so if you look at accessory dwelling units, in 2023 we had 7 of them. This year so far we've permitted 10 of them, and we have 3 more permits pending. So we may very well end up doubling up on accessory dwelling units by the end of the year, which is exactly what we're trying to do. For duplexes, we had 6 of those last year, and we have 18 permitted so far, and we have 10 more pending. So really cool to see record duplex numbers like we've never seen before, as that's something we're trying to make successful. We do see our single family numbers down. We had 24 last year, and right now we have 10 single family permits issued and 7 more pending. And I want to caveat, these numbers are all from September 3rd, and I can tell you there's been additional numbers and progress made here, but I didn't have time to get that all spit out by our system before I got here. So when you look at manufactured homes, last year we had 2, and we have 5 permitted this year and 5 more pending. So again, a situation where we're got a good multiplier relative to seeing some increases. And then finally, multifamily, we saw 27 last year. We've already issued permits for 4 and 36 pending.
Now, when we say multifamily, that can mean a lot of things. Maybe you can explain the difference between when you say we've got a duplex permitted and a multifamily permitted.
Right. So multifamily, for the most part, the definition entails 4 units or more.
Okay.
There's some nuances there in the different sections of code, as well as state recognition, and also relative to our tax exemption, property tax exemption incentive. But at the end of the day, 4 units or more is really what we typically consider as multifamily.
You know, those are great numbers. Still, I think you will probably agree, woefully need more.
Yeah.
Because we're so far behind the curve. The state, I think, is what, I can't even remember what the number was, but it's tens of thousands of units behind. What do you think it's going to take to get, those numbers to continue to increase and maybe even exponentially increase?
So, Todd, I think that's a good transition into the city's new strategic plan, recognizing we have found that while these incentives are great, the code changes are great, they've reduced and eliminated barriers, it's not enough, and we have to find ways to do more. And I think one of our biggest challenges is there's been a lack of market relative to multifamily, and we need to see some example projects done that really illustrate that market for others. And so that's kind of jumping into council. Did a new 2-year plan in July. City Council held a retreat to look at what do we want to make the priority for the next 2 years, 2025 and 2026. And housing is still up there, top 4 priorities. But the tactics for housing are a little bit different.
Hold your thought.
Yeah.
Let me take a break. I want to come back so we have a little bit more time. I don't feel like I'm rushed to get this in, because I think it's important for folks so we can elaborate a little bit more about what's next in the city, how we get more of this housing developed, as we talk with Nathan West. He's a city manager, right after this.
You have a neighborhood auto parts store in Sequim ready to help, such as when you're getting your trailer set up for the season. Rely on A1 Auto Parts and Marine to keep your outdoor adventure on the road. Trailer brakes, axles, bearings, even a hydraulic hose fix. A1 Auto will custom make hydraulic hose while you wait. Find the experts at A1 Auto Parts and Marine, downtown Sequim.
At the Big Swain's pre-winter sale, you'll see savings on all name brands that are designed to warm you up as the weather cools down. Patagonia men's and women's apparel is all 20% off. Cool and Outdoor Research men's and women's apparel is 20% off too. You'll really feel the heat in Smartwool men's, women's, and kids gear with 20% off. And Pendleton even has a wide selection of men's shirts, hats, and t-shirts for 20% off. So many great deals going on now at the Swain's pre-winter sale.
For the Washington State News Network, I'm Michael McDonald. State Attorney General Bob Ferguson says he's ready now to fight for the rights of Washington residents when he steps into the role of governor. In his victory speech last night, Ferguson said there was nobody running for statewide office this year anywhere in the United States who is more prepared to defend citizens' freedoms against the incoming Trump administration. Ferguson in all filed 97 lawsuits against the federal government during Trump's first term as president. Ferguson defeating Republican former Congressman Dave Reichert, 56% of the vote yesterday. Democratic former U.S. Attorney Nick Brown set to replace Bob Ferguson to become the new Attorney General in the state. Brown in the lead, 56% of the vote. Republican Pasco Mayor Pete Serrano follows with 43%. In what may be the closest race in the state, Benton Franklin Superior Court Judge, position number 5, Bronson Brown, is leading Sean Sant by just 13 votes in the initial count yesterday. The next ballot count in Benton Franklin County will be tomorrow. And a 27-year-old man arrested in the connection with the murder of his own grandfather in the Moses Lake area. Police say Isaiah Thomas killed 75-year-old Richard Andrews, then buried his body in a shallow grave near the home where the murder occurred. Thomas has been charged with murder. For details on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app or visit WashingtonStateNews.net.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I taught for 20 years, until I started forgetting my lectures.
Eventually, he had to quit. Getting his early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard, but it gave us time to take control of the situation together.
I can't imagine going through this without him.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon, with daytime highs approaching 51. West winds around 5 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies, with fog at times. Tonight, lows around 42. Chance for isolated showers and foggy early tomorrow. Highs level off around 54. Mainly cloudy skies expected. 55 Friday with isolated showers likely. 53 Saturday. Chance for showers continues. Looking at the long range, 49 Sunday, 48 Monday, and 49 on Tuesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 50 degrees.
All right, we're back with more Nathan West, my guest. We're talking about housing, kind of the response over the last number of years and what's next for housing and dealing with the crisis in the city of Port Angeles. We went to the break just starting in on what will be the next chapter, if you will, of this plan for the strategic planner for housing, and the city council has kind of redeveloped things, and I think we left it as there's going to be maybe a new way of targeting some of these things. I don't think necessarily changing in policy, but maybe in how things get implemented, if I read you right.
Yeah, Todd, I think there's a bit of a new direction, and ultimately so that we can do more and demonstrate more success in housing. And for the strategic plan for 2025, 2026, I'm solely going to focus on housing. There's more to that plan. Mm-hmm. We've got a total of 4 priorities, and I'd love to talk more about those other 3 priorities at some point. But if you really focus on the housing element, our first step is an update to the comprehensive plan, which I know you've talked about on this show already. But this is the largest investment we've ever done in that comprehensive plan since the inception of the Growth Management Act. A really big deal. And within that comprehensive plan, updating the city's housing action plan is part of that overall approach. And as you know, that has not been done since 2019. And if you look back in 2019, we needed thousands of new residential units, and we likely still do. But refreshing that plan is a really important starting point, so we know what type of metrics we need to perform on in order to be successful.
Okay, so let's talk about how you get, more people to engage, to do these things. And I alluded to this earlier. How do you get somebody like, and I think you almost hinted at this, you got to get almost a model project done somewhere. And I'm talking about perhaps maybe this is an apartment building or something like that, because that's something that is lacking in Port Angeles. There just aren't those types of facilities, really, those types of housing right now.
That's right. If a developer is going to do a housing project, they want to know at the end of the day that those units are going to sell, that those units are going to rent. And so you need an example, and a recent example on the ground of that success. If you don't have that, it's really hard for someone to come in from outside. And that if you look at our development community, most, not all, but most do single family development. And sometimes you have to bring an outsider in to do multifamily. But we also have some contractors locally who have changed, who have really stepped up in the multifamily world. We're extremely grateful for that. But to demonstrate that project, the city has identified what is called the Housing Pilot Project. We have built that into our capital facilities plan, and we now, through this new strategic plan, have the goal of seeing that in the form of a site plan and layout by September 30th of 2026. And so, seeing it finished in entirety by 2026. There's other time frames for design and things like that built into the plans, but we want to ensure that it's completed in the end of summer 2026.
Is there a site picked already? Is there any of that, size-wise, or is it still very vague?
I would say at this point it's very vague,
okay.
and we have not picked a site. We haven't selected one. but we're going to be working in that direction, and basically the city will lead this project. And my hope is that we lead it in partnership with others in the community. And we've seen some amazing partnerships relative to housing. I think it's really important to name Clallam County, who's stepped up. They also have housing as a priority. They've created the Housing Solutions Committee. And when we've seen those multifamily opportunities, such as Peninsula Behavioral Health, they've been right there with the city of Port Angeles contributing funds towards those projects. So, and I'm not suggesting the county has to be a partner, but I'm just using that example of a good partnership, as well as all of the housing entities that we have within this community. Our goal is to find some partners who want to help make this successful, because at the end of the day, we do not want to be a manager of actual housing units or have to administer those, but we do want to absolutely ensure the successful build and ultimately housing opportunities provided to Port Angeles residents.
Repurposing of buildings and housing. We've talked about this in the past. Is that an active part of the city's process in some of this?
It is. So that was a successful modification in code relative to the 2021 strategic plan, but still really important. Just a great opportunity when you think about the underutilized commercial buildings we have in town. We really would love to see more of those converted. And when you look at the flexibility within our commercial zoning now, it's easy to do. You get all the same incentives of a residential high density zone within those commercial areas, which is really cool.
All right. So lots of things laid on the table. It's kind of lead a horse to water in some ways, right? I mean, you can only do so much. At some point, the development community has to take a risk, take a step.
That's right. And so another goal is also to specifically attract a new construction company to actually do an apartment complex and a private developer who gets that completed. And so we want to see that done by September 30th, 2026 as well. So
how does that look? Is that going to go through like an RFP process or something? I mean, how do you envision that happening?
So there's a lot of ways to do it, but there's a lot of good training out there. In fact, some organized public-private partnership trainings that really help you look at all the different options. But yes, a request for proposals is one possibility. There's a lot of nuances that we have to take care with as the city, because if we simply do it outright, it becomes a public work, and then you're paying prevailing wage and some other things. If you're building it more as a partnership, there are other ways to look at it that are a little bit more creative, and you can actually see that private party come in and be successful with it at the end of the day without the city actually doing the build.
All right. Before we run out of time, I want to kind of circle back on those incentives and just some dollar figures you were sharing with me during the break about just how much the city has given out, expanded, I guess, by either not charging a fee or in some cases granting some dollars.
Yeah, Todd, I think it illustrates that we've had a lot of success with the fee waiver program. Up until September 3rd of this year, we've seen $115,000 in permit fees waived for the types of housing that I mentioned previously. We've also seen grants, almost $20,000 in grants for our NICE program, which is Neighborhood Improvement Community Enhancement, which helps provide infrastructure in conjunction with some of those housing projects. And then we've also granted over $779,000 in housing sales tax dollars towards some of these housing projects. And then finally dedicated just over $40,000 in sales and use tax credits, which is a sales tax credit program through the state where we're getting money back that would normally go to the state.
All right. Before you got into this position, you were a community development guy, so I can ask you this question. How are you feeling about some of this looking ahead? Is the city poised to do something here, or what's Nathan West's hunch at this point?
Yeah, Todd, I think we're in a great position. I think we've got really good momentum. We've got momentum, right, because we planned for the work that we're doing here. We've been very strategic about it. Through now 2 strategic plans. we have focused on implementation along the way, as well as tried to be very innovative. And so I have a lot of confidence that we're going to see some new things accomplished that really move housing forward in this community.
All right, we'll stand by and watch more. I'm sure we'll chat a lot about it as we go. Some interesting things perhaps on the horizon there. Getting somebody in to build a large project of some kind, that would be curious to see how that falls out.
Look forward to it.
All right. Nathan West, he is the city manager for Port Angeles, talking about housing and the plan for housing and how it's going and how it's been for Port Angeles. We're going to take a break and be back with more in just a moment.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Hi, this is Tristan with Tri-State Roofing. We are celebrating the grand pre-opening in Sequim. We specialize in roofs, siding, gutters, patio covers, and doors. The best part? We got you covered with incredible financing. 0 down payment, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 18 months on approved credit. Experience the Tri-State way. We've got you covered 24/7. Call 253-ROOFING or tristate.pro.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
Your community-minded friends at First Fed bring you the Community Corner, highlighting good things happening right here in our area.
This Saturday, come give a little or a lot during the Lakeside Industries Swains Food Drive for the PA Food Bank. Team members from Lakeside Industries and Swains General Store will be on hand in the Swains East parking lot collecting your donations from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. this Saturday. Your non-perishable food and cash donations are critical in helping the PA Food Bank to ensure no family or person goes hungry this holiday season. Come out, drop off your cash donation or unopened prepackaged food items on Saturday. For any donation of 5 pounds of food or a minimum $10 cash donation, you'll receive a big thank you and a $10 off Swains coupon. You'll also be entered to win a $100 Swains gift card. With your help, Lakeside Industries and Swains are paving the way past hunger.
Community Corner, presented by First Fed.
Support the arts and enjoy exclusive benefits by becoming a member of Field Arts and Events Hall. Your membership earns you early ticket access, invitations to members-only special events, and public recognition for your support. Membership starts at just $100 a year. Sign up before October 15th for early access to spring and summer 2025 shows. What are you waiting for? Learn more at fieldhallevents.org/membership.
Hi, this is Clallam PUD. If you're always on the go, you'll love our Smart Hub mobile app. You can pay your bill, report outages or other problems, and unlock new ways to save energy through monitoring your usage history, all from your phone. It's more than an app. It's a key to saving time and money. Innovation in your pocket, that's power. Download the app from our website at clallampud.net. Clallam PUD, bringing energy to life.
All right, welcome back. It's my pleasure to have Sarah Nichols. She's the Executive Director for the Dungeness Valley Health and Wellness Clinic, the Sequim Free Clinic, as it's more affectionately known, I think, joining us because they have a really interesting and special opportunity for folks to take in a movie and Q&A session that becomes actually very locally focused. So, Sarah, thanks for coming in, first of all.
Thank you so much for having me.
And so this weekend at Olympic Theater Arts, on both Saturday and Sunday afternoons, you're going to be presenting Medicine Man, which is the Stan Brock story. So before we go anywhere else, let's talk about that movie first.
Okay, sounds good. So Stan Brock is British-born. We ended up moving to British Guinea and became a cowboy, a barefoot cowboy. Vaquero, I think they call them.
Yeah.
And worked his way up on the farm, ran the whole thing, cattle ranch, and then out of the blue, Mutual of Omaha, it's Wild Kingdom, most of us remember that show, or some of us remember that show, came to them to see all of the animals and the nature and that sort of thing. And they came a few times. And when Stan decided he'd had enough of that life, he moved to Chicago, where he worked on the show for quite a bit. And then he, remembering his roots, thought, what if I could take a doctor to New Guinea? Because he had lost a cowhand on the trail because the closest doctor was a 22-day walk. Ugh. And so that's where the idea came from this. So he started making arrangements to have to take a full crew of doctors to this area. Unfortunately, it was war-torn at the time. He couldn't get permission to go in. And so they ended up taking this whole crew to Mexico. And they had their first pop-up clinic down there. Then all of a sudden it's America, we're in just as bad a shape. And so he started doing these pop-up clinics all over the country. That was back in 1992. And they were serving the underserved, the ones that didn't have insurance, the ones that couldn't afford dental care. And this is the documentary of his story. And I've been able to see the film. It is absolutely a fabulous film. It's won all kinds of awards. It's an independent film. Won all kinds of awards at film festivals. And because his mission aligns so much with the Squim Free Clinic, that's what we're here for. We don't have pop-up clinics that come here. Right. And even if we did, they happen once a year, once every couple of years. We're there all the time. And so it felt like it was just a really good opportunity to bring some of this history to our community, because our community supports the clinic so well and is so supportive of us. And I just thought it'd be fun to do. And so I reached out to them and they said, yeah, we'd love to have you screen it.
There you go. So you're doing two shows.
The worst they can do is tell me no, and so I asked.
So chance to see it on Saturday at 1 p.m. and then Sunday at 2 p.m. Again, that's at Olympic Theater Arts down in Squim. What's going to happen, though, afterwards is a panel discussion. So tell us about part two of the presentation.
When we were talking to the producers of the film, and they said, if you would like, we could do a Q&A if your audience would have a question. And I said, well, that's great. Why don't we bring in the head of our state and national associations as well? They have a feel for the entire healthcare system and what's going on around the country. And so I reached out to both of them, Christine Lindquist from Washington Healthcare Access Alliance, which is our state association, and Nicole Lamoureux, who's the CEO of the National Association of Free and Charitable Clinics. Within 24 hours, they both reached out back to me and said, absolutely, that's what we do. That's what we're here for. And then Paul Michael Angel is the director and a producer of this film, and he is going to be joining us as well. So I'm going to have people on a Zoom on the big screen. We've been testing this. We're going to make it work on the big screen. And I think Paul is in England right now. Nicole is back east, and Christine will be in Tacoma, and I'll be hosting it in person, and the audience will be able to ask questions either about the healthcare system or about the film, whatever comes to mind after this. And this will be happening both days.
On both days. Saturday and Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Cost to do this?
We are not charging anything to do this. We would suggest donations at the door. All proceeds would go to the clinic, but of course it is not a requirement. We are here to serve our community, and we would love the donation, but no charge.
What made you decide to do this? I mean, it's a great show, it's a great discussion, but there's obviously a need for more awareness of the services a free clinic such as yours is providing.
Exactly. I mean, we've been in business. The Squim Free Clinic has been in business for 23 years, and there's still people in town that don't know that we exist. And there is still a shortage of doctors. It's for new folks that come in. They're waiting 3 to 6 months to get into a doctor, and they have meds to be refilled. I wished I had known about the clinic when we moved here in 2016. And so, it's just another way to get our name out there.
That's a really interesting point you brought up, because I think we think about the free clinic, both yours and the one that's in here in Port Angeles, as well as being, service to folks who are homeless or they have no insurance or anything like that. But I mean, there's a real need because of the lack of infrastructure, if you will, of in our area. I mean, just getting a doctor while you're on that list, you may need to go see somebody.
Absolutely. And I was one of those, and I didn't know that we had a free clinic. So I was calling back to my doctors back home, and they're saying, Sarah, you really need to stop this. I'm like, well, I'm on the list. I will do it. And I have insurance. I have good insurance. I've been lucky that way. But And even though insurance is much more available now, co-pays and deductibles are still so high that they can be very limiting.
And you got to have a place where you can use your insurance.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So you can have all the insurance in the world if you can't find a provider to use it at. There's a thing. Just a bit about the free clinic in Sequim. Give us kind of the nuts and bolts now as how it's operating now,
Sure.
hours, all of that sort of thing.
Absolutely. We are open on Monday and Thursday evenings starting at 4:30. The Monday and Thursday evening clinics are all run by volunteers, volunteer providers, volunteer nurses, volunteer receptionists, you name it, everybody's a volunteer. We're seen on a first-come, first-served basis. Again, donations are requested, but they are not required. There is no charge for our services. We also have a chronic healthcare clinic that runs 3 to 4 days a month. They are by appointment, and that is our only paid provider to maintain continuity of care for folks that need help with hypertension, diabetes, that sort of thing. If you are seen in the clinic and on Monday or Thursday and you have one of these diseases that needs to be followed or one of these conditions, then we will put you into the chronic care clinic, and it's by appointment, which is really wonderful. We have a dental voucher program where if somebody needs an emergency dental work, a tooth pulled or an abscess, something like that, we have several local dentists that will take our vouchers and get these people in on a rather quick basis to get this stuff taken care of. And then we provide vouchers for vision and some vaccinations and some prescription assistance type of things for them as well.
What kind of numbers are you serving?
We'll on a Monday or Thursday evening, we'll do anywhere between 4 and 12 in a night.
Okay.
So, our numbers cut drastically during COVID, but they've been increasing by about 10% every year. So far this year, we're up at about 20%.
If you could describe kind of a typical person that's using your clinic or your services, right? What is that person? What are they like, and what's their life like right now?
They are a working adult,
okay,
for the most part, and they have nowhere else to go. You know, they have a cold, they have a sprained hand, they have whatever the ailment is, but they can't get into a doctor because they don't have one. They've never had one. Their deductibles are quite high. Insurance nowadays is turning into more of a catastrophic plan than, a day-to-day thing. And so they come to us.
Right. Your funding on donations, grants, any way you can find it. How do you keep the doors open?
We are primarily funded. Well, that's my joke. I have Rose Gibbs as my clinic director, and she runs the place. Yeah. She handles everything, and I'm the one that figures out how to pay for it. That's our little joke. And our biggest source of funding is local donations. People, the SQUIM people care for us. But I do a lot of grants, and we have some funding through the SQUIM Health and Housing Collaborative through City of SQUIM. So they help out with human services funding as well.
I find it interesting because there is still there's a healthcare crisis going on. And it's on multiple levels, right? I mean, we have the access issue going on. We have the can I even afford it going on, even with insurance.
Well, then we also have the reimbursement issues that OMC is having to go through now. And OMC is a huge supporter of ours. They help us, they give us our building for $1 a year. And that is just amazing. If we had to try and rent that space somewhere, it would be, my job would be 10 times harder. They also provide money for our dental program. So, but they're hurting. And but we're helping to keep people out of the emergency room.
Exactly.
So it's an investment for them.
Right.
And so it works out really well. They also provide our lab and x-ray for free for patients that don't have any insurance.
Wow. All right.
So
you do tremendous work down there at that clinic.
Thank you.
And likewise, I think we'd be in a world of hurt without either one of those clinics operating here locally.
Absolutely.
But come down and check out kind of almost the auspice of what is a free clinic in this movie that is being right. The Medicine Man, the Stan Brock story. It'll be on Saturday at 1, Sunday at 2 at Olympic Theater Arts in Sequim. The Q&A is going to follow right after that. Should be a very interesting afternoon. Sarah,
it's going to be great.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so
Great
much for having me.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Sarah Nichols is the Executive Director for the Dungeness Valley Health and Wellness Clinic, the SQUIM Free Clinic. We're going to take a break and check in with the news coming up next.
Beat the holiday rush. Save on gifts and essentials for the whole family.
Coastal Farm and Ranch. We're just what the country needs.
On Wednesday, October 30th through Friday, November 8th, browse all our Black Friday-worthy deals on apparel. Like $15 off all jeans for the family that start at $49.99. It's the biggest Carhartt event of the year. Get your casual and cold weather Carhartt staples like sweatshirts, boots, and caps at unbeatable prices. Plus, receive a $20 gift card when you buy $100 in Carhartt gear. Don't forget to visit our other departments for savings on favorites like safes, stoves, feed, and more. Shop the sale in-store or online at coastalcountry.com and try in-store pickup for a seamless shopping experience.
Coastal Farm and Ranch. We're just what the country needs.
Get a head start on the holidays and save by November 8th.
Harper Ridgeview and Squim Valley Funeral Chapel offer experience you can lean on and the compassion to ease your loss. Their job is to help families cope with loss of loved ones by removing the stress involved in planning funeral arrangements. All of the staff has a real heart for serving families and their needs in the most difficult of times. They truly realize the importance in what they're doing for the community. Squim Valley Funeral Chapel and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapel in Port Angeles, the caring support you'll need in your time of loss.
Caviar Jewelry is freshly restocked with Darling Sterling Silver Fashions. If you haven't stopped by in a while, now is a great time to check out the whole new collection. We have also, for the first time in Caviar history, marked our clearance jewelry to 50% off indefinitely. Every week we pull one-year-old inventory and add it to the half-off case. You won't find deals like this anywhere else. Annie and Sharon can't wait to see you again. Caviar Jewelry, 2416 East Highway 101. Online at myclallamcounty.com. News Radio KONP, Port Angeles, Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Lindsay Davis, anchor of Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. Donald Trump will return to the White House as the 47th president. His victory is being called a historic comeback. ABC's Jonathan Karl has more.
When you consider the way he left office, the impeachments, the indictments that came later, the convictions, this was a